Evening, fellows. Welcome back to another podcast. This is the Phantom or Dragti. And in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about a lot of different issues and stuff. So, let's get started. The first thing I do want to do is apologize for the lack of podcast last week. And that is because my audio basically corrupted. This is something I talked about a lot in the earlier podcasts. But I'll just quickly say that it just basically got corrupted and I didn't really want to upload a bad audio onto my channel because if you listen back to the second episode of the podcast, you would see how bad my audio was. I did try to do a corrupted file. So I thought I would just make this one 40 minutes just to cover the 20-minute episode. That would have been last week. But guys, so welcome back. So the first thing I want to talk about is because this would have been the second podcast of the month. Well, it'd been the sixth podcast overall. That means it's going to be a wrestling podcast. So we've just had the Royal Rumble on, I want to say last Sunday. Not the Sunday that's just been, but the one before. And it was quite interesting. A lot of things happened that I didn't really expect to happen. And I'm kind of interested in the way that WWE is handling their stars. And of course, we got the news about Dean Ambrose and maybe even Nakamura and AJ Styles all leaving the company by the end of WrestleMania or the end of the year, as soon as their contracts expire. So, let's just jump into it. So I'm just going to talk about the Dean stuff first. So if you don't know, Dean Ambrose is supposedly leaving the company. No one knows if it's a work or a shoot. But I think it's a legit thing that's going to happen. And WWE posted on their website that they wish him well for the future or something. And they said that he's not going to be renewing his contract after WrestleMania. And last night we had Raw. And Dean cut one of the strangest promos where he basically said Nia Jax likes him. Because at the Royal Rumble, Nia Jax entered number 30 in the men's Rumble after taking R2's spot. And it's kind of weird because they have their own Rumble now, but now she wants to join in. So that's that. And Dean Ambrose got number 14 in the men's Rumble. And if you've seen What Culture's video on why the number 14 in the Royal Rumble is really unlucky, you would know that Dean is probably going to leave the company pretty soon. If you get number 14, it basically means you're leaving the company. And Dean will probably be leaving the company by end of WrestleMania, according to the articles that have come out. And it's because he's really unhappy with his character work. And I can kind of understand it because if you've seen his promo work, I mean, he's basically Bane and it doesn't really suit him. And his feud with Seth Rollins wasn't even that good, to be honest. It just felt kind of underwhelming. They had such a good start, but then they do all these strange promos. And it didn't really suit the idea that Dean was a legitimate challenger to Seth Rollins. So it ruined the feud overall. And then their match was a bit lackluster as well. I mean, they put it before Becky, Charlotte and Asuka. So they were already at a disadvantage because the crowd just wanted to see that match. And it was kind of like a pass for... This is the death slot match, but it was a match that they just used to fill up the card. And instead of being this huge brawl, they just had all these spot fest stuff. And it was really underwhelming because I was expecting them to have a huge Clash of the Titans, Brock Lesnar Undertaker style match where both of them are fighting with everything they got. And they have to take each other out using submissions rather than finishing moves because neither will give up or surrender. And the only way to do it is to knock one of them out. So that was kind of underwhelming. And now Dean's leaving. So I think I can understand why, because obviously if you've just had such a shit comeback after Roman's got leukemia and SummerSlam and stuff, I would probably want to leave as well. I don't know. I don't think he'll go to AEW or New Japan or anything because he said that he just wants to have a quiet life after wrestling, and he doesn't seem like this sort of person who wants to go out and make a lot of money. Like, he enjoys wrestling, but he's not like his passion like Seth Rollins or someone else or Bailey actually. She's probably a good example of someone who really had a love of wrestling. He has one, but it's not like theirs where they want to wrestle on a consistent basis. Because if you've seen WWE's Chronicle series, you've just seen he kind of looks burnt out from wrestling, and there's still some ring rust in his work. So I can understand him wanting to retire early. I mean, he's made the money that he needs. He could easily just go on to do something else, maybe like scripting for some other company or even WWE, or just helping behind the scenes like Finley does now. But yeah. So Dean's leaving. Let's move on to AJ Styles. So some guy posted some article on, I don't even know what the source is. But anyway, he posted an article saying that AJ Styles renegotiated his contract and he's re-signed with WWE. But AJ said, I haven't heard anything about this. Could you enlighten me and shit like that? And the wrestling journalist responded, oh yeah, I'm just going to stand by my word. Even though AJ Styles has just said that he hasn't really heard anything about this and he hasn't renegotiated his contract or whatever the journalist said. So that kind of puts a question over his future, because I think he'll probably stay, but he'll just use AEW as like a phantom to make himself get a higher pay rise and all sorts. Because he's quite young. Well, he's not young. He's quite old. So I don't think that he would want to like leave WWE for somewhere else. He's made a lot of money off the indies, and the only thing I can see him really do is becoming like a manager role on AEW, or I don't even know what AEW is going to be calling their show. I think it's Dynamite, Tuesday Night Dynamite. He could become a general manager figure or like an authority figure. But at the same time, I don't think AEW should be using ex-WWE stars as this huge promotion thing, because they need to build their own stars to become big. You don't want to rely on someone else's stars, and that's just gonna be really like helpful for them in the long run. So yeah, so AJ Styles is probably staying on with WWE. And then Nakamura, I can understand if Nakamura is gonna leave. Let's be honest here, he has, since coming out 14 in last year's Rumble, he's basically gone from like the top of the card to a really shit heel, and WWE won't let him have his edge or anything. And I think the best thing for him is just to go back to New Japan. I mean, there's not much he can really do in WWE. Look at his SmackDown recently, like, he won back the US title, then he lost it to R-Truth, and then he joined Rusev in beating down R-Truth, even though they were feuding with each other like literally the last night at the Rumble. So yeah, that's that. So wrestling's kind of got interesting in that sense, because now AEW is starting to become more and more of a threat. I'm still waiting on their programming, but apparently they've been talking to TV studios, and I think once they get at least some couple of hours of programming out, it will be much more definitive to see how much of a threat they are. Like, if they do some next level promos and matches and stuff, and it's actually good for the casual fan, then they might become a viable threat for WWE, and we might see the ratings start to drop on Raw and SmackDown, and more people starting to tune in to AEW's Tuesday Night Dynamite. I think they should just stick with the one show for now. I don't see the point of having two shows, and I don't see the point of having more than 4 pay-per-views a year, because 4 seems like an optimum amount. Because look at WWE, they have one pretty much every month. It's too much. There's not much use for them. I think I would prefer to see stories being built and then they climax at one pay-per-view rather than continuing over like 7 pay-per-views and still no end to it. like Roman and Lesnar did. It went from Roman winning the Elimination Chamber, then we went WrestleMania, then after that Great Royal Rumble, then I think they had a match at SummerSlam. Then they had a match before SummerSlam as well, I'm pretty sure. But either way, they had a match at SummerSlam. And then after that, Lesnar came back at Hell in a Cell, knocked down the red cell door. So that feud lasted over at least 5 pay-per-views, and there was no real payoff for it, if you ask me. Because Roman had to go away. Lesnar kept his belt after all that. And WWE didn't want to pull the trigger on Braun, who they should have arguably been pulling the trigger a long time ago, just to satisfy the casual viewer. And because big men don't really last that long, the way Braun performs it as well, like, he focuses a lot on his strength, and his knees are going to be gone pretty soon, which is going to be really sad because he's arguably one of the best in the business at the moment. And they should have used him a lot earlier on than instead of this Wyatt family stuff that they did. So, yeah. So let's move on to the number one topic in WWE at the moment. That's Becky Lynch, the man, and versus Ronda Rousey, the baddest woman on the planet. So everyone basically wants that to main event. Let's be honest here. No one realistically wants to see Seth versus Brock Lesnar, or I don't even know what are the other feuds that are going on. Asuka versus Charlotte, I think. Is that still going on? They haven't really set up anything for SmackDown. They haven't set anything up for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and the Raw Women's Championship. If they insert Charlotte at this point, I don't think it's worth it, because Charlotte is basically, she doesn't need to be in the match necessarily. I think if Becky ups her match quality, and Ronda could probably carry anything that Becky's losing, then I think we're going to get a good match, because Charlotte's a really good wrestler, but I think she's kind of just above Ronda, but I think Ronda will be enough to carry that match at WrestleMania, because Ronda might pull out matches against Nia Jax, and they were pretty good. So I reckon she could do it with Becky, who's better than Nia Jax, and Becky can carry Ronda in the promos and stuff, and we can see now that Stephanie is becoming much more like Vince McMahon, and it's kind of that Stone Cold dynamic. But I think it's kind of this storyline of her having a knee injury and then she isn't able to perform or ever compete. It's kind of stupid to me, because I feel like she probably could compete still. And even if she got like the injury sorted and stuff, I don't get why they're trying to put it as, oh yeah, look, her knee's really bad, she's going to have surgery, it's going to last 6 months. Like, they could easily just say, oh yeah, she's off now, and they could just delay her from coming back and build something in the meanwhile with like Ronda, and get like Bailey or Sasha, well, actually Bailey and Sasha about to go and be like the Raw Woman, or the Women's Tag Team Champions. So that won't work, but like get Charlotte in there and just have like a mini feud between them, or get Asuka. They could easily just do a champion versus champion thing at the Elimination Chamber or Fastlane, just as a prelude to the main event, and just have challengers versus challengers afterwards. And they could easily separate out Becky and Ronda for that time, because when you separate them, it makes them feel more special when they do collide, because now you can see all the aggression, now you can see all the rage that's been building up. I don't want to say like, I don't know how to describe it, but the feeling that you get when you see the two wrestlers like fight each other, even though they've been wanting to for so long, but now they actually have the chance, and now we get to see the big payoff to the event. And WrestleMania is basically the only place to do that for a feud of this size, and characters like Ronda and Becky, they're the only two I think that are capable of being in that main event spot at the moment, unless WWE starts pushing like Brock and Seth really well or something else. But even then, I don't think fans will want to see like another match in that spot. And I think if they do move Becky and Ronda to like the match before the main event, they'll basically lose like half their network subscriptions, because I don't think anyone wants that match in the main event. So yeah, I guess that's all I have to talk about wrestling this week, and that's taken up like half the podcast. So that's much better than the second episode where it only took up like 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the beginning. And this is normally the length that I would expect to do it for the future and stuff. So this would have been roughly where last week's podcast would have finished. But of course, this is the double time because I missed out on last week and I need to do this week. So yeah, guys, let's move on to this week's podcast. Well, would it be in this week? Let's do some more topics then. So some more leaks of the Samsung Galaxy S10 have come out, and it's looking really appealing, but I would probably want something like the Flex display that they're teasing. And the reason I want that is because I feel like having a tablet in your pocket is going to be much more beneficial than having like an in-display fingerprint reader or just a solid slab of glass. Like being able to bend your phone, you're going to be able to like share content much better. There's that ZTE phone, the Axon, I think it's the Axon Mini or something, I don't know, but it had like a folding display and you were able to like plop it up and you could see content on both sides. I think that was a really good way of using the display. But in tablet mode, you could open up something like Media Bang or another drawing app and you can sit there and draw. And I think that would be really good, especially if they got like the Note series the S Pen. If they manage to include the S Pen in their folding phone, I think people would generally buy it, because now we have like an appealing device where you can actually see using a pen would come in handy. And because the display is so big, you can actually see yourself using the utensil as an actual like tool. Because with the Note 9 at the moment, is this one solid slab and it's quite small in comparison to like an iPad Pro. Yeah, so in comparison to an iPad Pro, sorry, I just had that break because my throat just went. But yeah, so that's why I think Samsung should push for like a Note 9 or the not Note 9, but Note series phone that can bend, because I can see much more uses for it compared to a normal phone, and especially for the Note series, because that's just going to be like a huge improvement over like they could easily sell more phones that can bend compared to an iPhone, because now people are going to generally look at a phone and say, look, there's actual innovation in this phone that makes people want to buy it. It's not like the normal Samsung series where it just comes out every week, or not every week, but every year, and it's basically small upgrades. This time people can generally see it will be like the S7 to the S8. There's a huge difference in that design language compared to the S6 to the S7 and the S8 to the S9. And I think if they can capitalize on changing this design in a much more radical way, Apple will be like really hard pressed to create a new phone that will be able to match it. And Apple's already struggling because like their sales are down, especially in places like India. I've been watching a lot of Unbox Therapy, and he has done a lot of videos about the Indian smartphone industry and how people are less likely to buy Apple products because they're so expensive. And Tim Cook has said that the price is a factor in these new markets, that Apple are struggling to get into, because of course, like, people who in the West have already got iPhones and they're most likely just gonna stay with iPhones now, whereas people there are still new, and the brands like Honor, OnePlus, Huawei, Oppo, they're all providing really good value. Oh yeah, and Xiaomi. Xiaomi is probably one of the best phone providers up there. But yeah, so they're all providing really good value at low prices compared to Apple products. And speed on phones hasn't really got any different now. It's basically what's happened on the PC, where processors aren't really getting much faster in most like day-to-day stuff, like just using the internet and stuff. So yeah, I guess that's my view on the S10 and why Samsung should change up their phones and stuff. So let's move on to another topic. So I think it's Sunday. Well, it's Monday morning for me personally, but there's a Super Bowl, and essentially Maroon 5 lied to. Was it Maroon 5 that said they were going to put SpongeBob? Anyway, someone who's in the Super Bowl lied about having a huge SpongeBob memorial thing, because the creator of SpongeBob did die last year, and a lot of people wanted Sweet Victory to be played at the Super Bowl in the halftime show. So what they did was they cut like most of the song. They just had the beginning bits, and then they had Travis Scott come on and basically ruin the song. Well, he didn't even sing the song. He sung his own song, and because he had some swear words in it, I think they just cut out bits, so it just sounded really bad. And it kind of annoyed everyone. And then Mr. Beast kind of lied, because he said, "Oh yeah, I'm buying a." He didn't say I'm buying a Super Bowl advert, but he said, "I got 5 million for a PewDiePie thing," and then someone said something about Super Bowl. Either way, everyone assumed that he's gonna buy a Super Bowl ad, and he ended up just getting with his friends and buying some tickets and just standing behind the goalpost with subscribe to PewDiePie t-shirts. And I'm not sure how much of a difference this actually made to the subscriber gap, because before that there was a huge thing between them, T-Series and PewDiePie. There's like the gap was starting to close up, and even now it's starting to close up. It's like shit. It's like 34,000. Oh wait, no, it's more. Oh wait, no, it's way more. It's 134,000 now, and that's pretty good, because it means PewDiePie's gonna stay top. And I think if PewDiePie can get to like 100 million subs, then I think we've achieved the goal, because no one can ever take away from the fact that PewDiePie was the first person to hit 50 million subs. And now, if he hits 100 million, he'll be the first person to hit 100 million subs. And he did say he was going to delete his channel if he did hit 100 million subs. So at that point, it doesn't really matter anymore. I'm sure that he's got enough money off like his last 10 years of hard work on YouTube. And to be honest, if he does hit 100 million subs, I think it'll be a huge show of strength compared to T-Series. Of course, T-Series might just hit 100 million directly after him, but I'm still kind of a bit confused on how T-Series is getting so many subscribers so quickly. It just doesn't make any sense to me, because there's no huge subscribe to T-Series campaign, at least not to my knowledge. And yeah. So next thing I want to talk about is the channel. So I've been thinking about so I saw something on Discord, but I was thinking of doing some more history-based videos. And if you've been on my Twitter, which actually I changed my Twitter app recently, it's gone from Twitter Dragti_YT to just Dragti_. And I changed it because I watched the visual arts video on Twitter usernames, and that just kind of inspired me to change it and become more professional, because YT doesn't really sound too professional compared to what it should do. Yeah, so he said that he did it a few weeks ago, and I'm in his Twitter group chat, and he did say um, that he decided to change it. But he basically, I asked him, what do you think of my name? And everyone just just dropped the YT. Because I have two names, obviously, I'm the Phantom and I'm Dragti. And I'm trying to work out, should I drop the Phantom? Because the only reason I used it was because I was trying to distance myself from a guy called Poison Arts. And I don't know what happened to him, but he's basically gone MIA. He left Team Van Discord where I met him after this huge row. I don't really like talking about it, to be honest. So I did change my name, and a lot of the community does know me as the Phantom. But I'm trying to change it back to Dragti, and it's kind of hard. Well, my voice just cracked in, guys. But it's kind of hard to change it back because, well, you don't, once you get known by something, it's kind of hard to change your name. And because not many people knew me as Dragti to begin with, the fact that I changed it over to the Phantom and now I'm changing it back is kind of confusing for some people. So, yeah, I guess. So new Twitter at Dragti_. I don't know what. Oh yeah, I was talking about history videos. So yeah, I want to do more history videos because design videos are kind of I don't want to say irrelevant, but they're kind of boring. No one really watches them. Every design video has probably been made already. No one suggests me any video ideas. And history videos are also overdone, but at least there's something that you can generally talk about, and there's something I enjoy. I enjoy learning about history and stuff. And a lot of the videos I see on history are often really, they're not badly made, but I feel like they could go into much more detail on certain topics and stuff. But at the same time, when they go into detail, they oversimplify it, if you get what I'm saying. So I want to make history videos on small topics, but I want them to be detailed, but in a short amount of time. So that way you can just quickly watch them, and I think they'll be popular, especially if I animate it and stuff. I'm still working on character designs and things like that, because obviously if you look at most history channels on YouTube, they all have their own unique art style, and I'm still trying to work out mine. But yeah, so that's that, I guess. We're about to hit the 30-minute, well, 2 minutes from the 30-minute mark. But yeah, guys. So I don't even know what else to say today. There's not much else to really talk about, if I'm being honest, because I didn't really, when I'm making these podcasts, I normally talk about what's going on now, but because this is covering 2 weeks, I'm trying to cover 2 weeks worth of content, but I've forgotten most of the stuff I wanted to say. So yeah, I guess. So let's see what else is there. I'm just gonna check Reddit because there's nothing else to talk about really. Let's see. There's actually nothing to talk about. Can't even believe this. Not even Reddit has anything to talk about today. So I think I'll just edit the podcast a bit early so I can just edit it for you guys, and so you guys can get a bit of a short podcast. But hopefully it will cover enough for the 2 weeks that I'm covering, I guess. I've got work to do here as well. So yeah, guys. Thanks for listening to the podcast this week. If you did enjoy it, make sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this or podcasts like this in the future. But anyway, guys, this is the Phantom or Dragti, and I'm signing out. Peace out. Also, guys, I need some new intro music and outro music, so if you have any suggestions, please leave it down below. I like rocking Eurobeat. But peace out.